Forgetting is a gift. It's a gift that keeps on giving and blink twice. Written and directed by Zoe Kravitz, who is in Mad Max Fury Road, Kimmy, The Batman, and other projects, and stars Channing Tatum as Slater King, who's a rich boy, na 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 na, and he has all the money in the world, but he wants a girl, and he zeroes in on Frida and says, "My cash flow will never ever end. If you come to my island paradise, you'll be pampered to the very end." So she decides to do that. By the way, Frida is played by Naomi Aki. Good old Jay Sherman tape ejector noise. I kid, of course. If you get that reference, I love you guys. So yes, Frida is our main character. Channing Tatum obviously is the biggest star of this particular project. And you do have Gina Davis in a supporting role. You do have Christian Slater also, which must have caused some goddamn confusion on set. We need Slater on set. Real Slater or plain Slater. And also, you have Jess Aaliyah Shawkat, who was in Whip It and some other projects. I did recognize her from that. I need to rewatch Whip It. Let me know if you want me to rewatch that. And the gorgeous Adria Arjona, who was in Morbius. And my God, Jesus, you want to talk, good fucking grief, you want to talk about beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, yes, Zoe Kravitz, the sultry, incredibly attractive daughter of Lenny Kravitz, decided, I'm done being sultry and sexy on camera. I'm going to step behind, and I'm going to use my vast knowledge that I've learned acting in so many big projects, but I can't do it alone. I need this cast, and I also need another writer. So enter E.T. Feigenbaum with his feature credit. E.T., phone somebody else. Phone home, phone, somebody else's home. Phone the authorities, because this basically is a dark comedy, murder, mystery type thing with some suspense, and it's a bunch of stuff human centipede together, along with any given episode of Black Mirror, a lot of episodes of The Twilight Zone, and a lot of stuff where they're going to do, what a twist! Thankfully, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong is not involved in this, but basically Slater King says, yeah, I'm rich, and all these ladies, all the single ladies are going to come to my island. And also Haley Joel Osment is in this. There are some men that are, that really just want to pamper these women. There's a particular staff, that just takes care of them. Not groundskeeper, Willie. Make way for Willie! And there's a weird lady that seems to have a particular, attention and just zones in on Frida. Gee, I wonder what that's about, huh? Look, I'm going to be perfectly honest. When I saw this trailer, I kind of knew where it was going to go. And unfortunately, I was right. Guessed it in the trailer. That's not necessarily a great thing, but Zoe Kravitz at least is able to craft some decent shots, I will say that much. And while this is a decent idea, it's also been done before. Woo-hoo-hoo, it's all been done before. I do want to say, and before I go any further, there is a trigger warning in the beginning of this review. If assault scenes bother you, yes, those particular type of assaults, there is some stuff in here implied and also kind of shown that may trigger that. So that is a warning for you. Nobody should have to go through that. Nobody, I don't care who you are. Nobody should have to go through that. Nobody should be made to feel violated like that. And that is a big thing about this particular project, is that was a warning. So I was like, okay, they're going to really go full bore. Now, that's your warning right there. I will say that this movie does have a few scenes that would definitely trigger people. And it does eventually kick things into gear. The problem is this movie thinks it's building some, murder mystery or, crazy story where all this stuff obviously isn't what it seems. The problem is it has about that much plot that's trying to stretch out to like an hour and 40 minutes. And it's also very, again, obvious where it's going. It also gave me vibes of Black Christmas 2019. I will explain. This is much more polished than that, don't get me wrong. But it doesn't feel like it earns the third act where things, really try to kick into gear and everything. It feels like what it's trying to do is kind of like just make it a hard line where only this particular, group is bad, only this particular group is good. And yes, you want to have the bad people, have revenge enacted on them. You want that, but you also want it to be earned. And while I think this movie tries to justify it being earned a little bit, it just feels tonally inconsistent. The dark comedy doesn't work. Gina Davis just feels totally goddamn lost. Channing Tatum was much better in Fly Me to the Moon. Naomi Aki, I've never heard of before, but I will check out more of her stuff. I thought she did fine. Simon Rex is in this. He's pretty good. And it's just so funny that, Christian Slater is in projects like this. But that being said, there's talent in front of the camera, but everything feels safe despite the heavy subject matter of the particular thing. It feels like it's pulling back. And yeah, it does a few things that maybe some people will cheer about. This could be a bit of a crowd pleaser. It just didn't click to me. The ending in particular, I'm like, okay, it's not, the twist isn't shocking, and this is, okay, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? It's in theaters if you want to check it out. It's not really funny. It's not really suspenseful, and it doesn't have any surprises. That's my thought. That being said, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So, basically, there is something in the beginning. Not just that there was rap, as our Lord and Savior Dr. Dre once said, but Frida is talking to Jess, and they're working at this particular place that is headed by Slater King, who has gone through his own scandals and everything, and is changing. He's gone through various things, and has talked about, going through problems and coming out the other side better. He's gone to therapy, he's done stuff and everything. He's changed his ways. Sure he has. And Frida is talking to Jess because Jess is possibly going to get back together with a guy that has been a bit abusive and is controlling and stuff like that. I can't believe you would be with a guy like that. And then that gets turned around a little bit later on because Frida is swept off her feet by Slater. And yes, that's a nice little thing you could play on, but the thing is it's done so quickly with characters that are so goddamn thin. And even Adria Arjona, who is gorgeous, good grief, again, my God. She was the best part of Morbius. Boy, howdy. And Haley Joel Osment being in this was rather hilarious to me. There are elements that could work, but again, there's just, yes, there are certain things that get revealed, like these women are being drugged and being used as party favors, essentially, and stuff like that, so they can't remember a day or a night. They can't remember what day of the week it is. They don't have their phones because their phones were taken away, but they can leave any time they want. But then it's pretty obvious that they're being controlled. Where are they going to go? And the housekeeper that seems to have a particular affection for Frida keeps saying Red Rabbit. Now, that's something that had to be revealed later on because her accent was so thick, it was hard to understand. I thought she kept saying Red Robin. Yum. But what ends up getting revealed a little bit later on is that there are certain compounds, medicine, perfumes, whatever. There are certain things that are drugged. There are snakes all around. There's all this stuff going on. And certain compounds are made to forget or cause people to forget what is happening to them as a way to shield what's going on. Jess gets bitten by a snake at one point and becomes clear. The snake venom breaks this goddamn spell. She's taken away sometime later after realizing shit's going south. Frida then ends up talking to this lady who gives her, who keeps saying Red Rabbit. She drinks this particular flask that is snake venom, and she suddenly has clarity. She remembers some stuff, like them being assaulted, and that's where the scenes get a little bit, bad. They're being pinned down and all this, and it's really, really, don't do that. Just don't do that. Don't exert your authority over people like that. Just don't do it. If you're rich and you can get people based on the content of your character, great. Otherwise, don't do that. So, yeah, basically Frida and various others decide to take revenge. They end up doing some shots of the snake venom stuff to clear their heads, basically. And then they play dumb. They dance a bit. And, man, let me just tell you, Adria Arjona dancing. Jesus. Boy, howdy, I'd fold like a fucking sheet. I don't know what man, woman, non-binary wouldn't. But that being said, eventually they take hold. And this is after Frida had tried to get their phones and found a bunch of Polaroids because Christian Slater's been going around taking Polaroid pictures of them and keeping this. And she sees in one of the Polaroids an older picture of her. Because after some people are killed by a knife, it cuts like a knife. Haley Joel Osment's stabbed repeatedly. That's kind of funny. One guy's killed with a pizza or beaten with a pizza flooring tile. That's Christian Slater. The staff is desperately trying to fight back. It's kind of like Bloodlust. If Bloodlust was not directed all that well, because Bloodlust, I think, at least had potential. It also came out a number of years ago. You'd think you'd learn by that point. But it turns out that Frida was actually on this island and part of this game before. And she had her entire memory wiped clean. She forgot all this stuff because Channing Tatum had talked about therapy and all this crap going on. All this, all this stuff, forgetting the bad stuff, remembering the good stuff, all that. Well, she ended up finding some particular compound to kind of break the spell that Slater had. and because he had a vape pen, she put this compound in there. It's just her and Sarah Adria left because everybody else is basically killed. She puts a thing in his vape pen. Gina Davis, by the way, got stabbed at one point in kind of a hilarious way. And she ended up breaking his spell. Like, he's all suddenly confused. All this stuff's going on. He doesn't remember what the hell's going on. All this weird shit's happening. And because his memory's basically being fucked with, she ends up taking over what he ended up doing. She ended up taking over the company, and now he is subservient to her. Now that's fine. That's a good way to end the movie, turning the tables on the abuser. That's fine. The thing is, the movie doesn't earn it. It doesn't earn it at all. It's just like, it just feels like, yeah, we kind of went that route and we did what we did. And the acting is fine, but the characters are just so thin and the plot is so thin, and it just isn't good. It isn't good at all. Like, it's just not. So that's really all I have to say for the spoilers, because anything else that they reveal, yeah, the associate, just trigger warning on that stuff. It's just, it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on Blink Twice in the comments. F, it gets an F. I'm sorry. It's just not good. Hopefully Zoe can do other projects and maybe improve. Because there was elements of potential, but it's all been done. It's all been done before. So F. Agree, disagree, what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.